Now let's start with the identification of elements. How can we use the different locator strategies? Right. In the last part, I had discussed about WebDriver interface, running the scripts on multiple browsers. That is, if you create one script, then how can you run that script on different browsers? Out here, I'll be starting off with the identification that once the script is ready or browser is opening, how do you go to a website and interact with the elements on the web page? Okay, I'll continue from the same script which we had written, this dynamic browsers. Right. Suppose I have to go to facebook.com. After opening the browser, I have to go to facebook.com and interact with the elements on the web page. Okay, right now I'm using the browser Chrome, and if I run this script, this will open the browser and this is going to take me to facebook.com. Suppose on facebook.com I have to enter something in the username field or the password field. How do we do that? To do that, first of all, you need to understand about the page source. Every website has a page source. You can right click on anywhere on the website and you will get the option view page source in all the browsers, from where you can view the HTML page source of the page. This is the actual server response. Okay, right. Now in the page source you have got all the elements. Right. If you want to inspect the email field or the password field, how it looks in the page source, you can right click on the element. See, I right click on the email field and inspect this field. Okay, I'll get a Chrome inspector. This will open. You click on these three dots and you switch to the dock bottom view. Fine. And you click on this arrow. Okay, you see this arrow, and wherever you move the mouse, that element will get highlighted. I move the mouse over the email field, the email element will get highlighted. This is the page source of the email field. Selenium works on the page source. So if Selenium is working and identifying the elements through page source, you need to understand about page source. Okay, every element on the web page has a particular tag name. See, whatever is starting from this conical bracket is basically a tag. Input tag is for this email text field. This is inside another element which has the tag name TD. Okay, one tag can have attributes. For example, input tag has got attribute like type. This is known as an attribute. Class is an attribute. Name, ID, these are different attributes to the input tag. However, this input tag is inside this TD tag. This TD tag has got no attribute. A tag can either have 0 attributes or can have n number of attributes. Right, it's always the choice of the developer. Fine, but we investigate these tags and attributes and we identify the elements. If I click on this arrow, move my mouse over the login button. Login button also has the tag name input. Okay, so every element on the web page has a particular tag. Everybody must be knowing about links. I'll use this link forgot account. A link always has got the anchor tag A. Most of you must be knowing about it. Right. Now, based on this, what happens is that there are some mandatory attributes which will always be present with the tag, and there are some optional attributes. So with the combination of these tags, name, mandatory attributes, optional attributes, we identify the elements. For example, this is the anchor tag which represents the link. It will always have an attribute known as href. Href attribute will point towards the link which is opening once you click on the link. Okay, so href attribute points towards the URL which will open once you click on the link. Fine. So href is the mandatory attribute. Let us actually go and make a small Excel file. See, I've made this Excel file, that what is the element type, what is the mandatory attribute for the element, and what is the optional attribute. Let us jot down the HTML elements we have. We have got text boxes on the web page. We have got buttons on the web page. We have got radio buttons on the web page. Checkboxes are there. Then we have the select tag, which is actually drop down. Right. We have got links. We have got images. We have got regular text, the normal text which is written. Okay, though that is also there. So these are the different HTML elements with which we will be dealing with, majority of them. Okay, and which are normally visible to the human eye. Every HTML element has few mandatory attributes and optional attributes. For example, if I talk about a checkbox or a text field, if you look at this, say the first name text field, a text field will always have the tag name input, and the type attribute would be equal to text. This will always be there. Okay, the mandatory attribute is type equals to text. Fine. And its tag name, I should also have one more column named as, what is the tag name? The tag name is input. For the text box, the tag name is input and mandatory attribute type equals to text. Sometimes the type attribute, for example, in case of email, it becomes as email as well. Okay, sometimes it's like email, or sometimes password as well in case of passwords. So majority of the times you will see, 90% of the times, type attribute is text in case of a text box. In case of a button, right, for example, this is the button sign up. Fine, a button will have the tag name button. Okay, the tag name for a button is button. Sometimes the tag name is also input. Okay, there are pages on which you will see the tag name input. If I look at this login, see the login button over here has the tag name input. Okay, but the type attribute would always be submit. There would be a type attribute in case of a button whose value would be equal to submit. Okay, in case of a radio button, say this is a radio button over here. If I look at the first radio button, right, the radio button also has got the input tag, but type is radio in case of radio buttons. Fine, the tag name is input, but type is radio. In case of checkbox, well, for checkbox also the tag name is input, but the type attribute is equal to checkbox. Fine, in case of a drop down, if you inspect a drop down, for example, this is a drop down over here, you will always see that the drop down has the tag name select. The tag name is always select in case of a drop down. Right, inside the select tag, there are multiple option tags. Each option tag represents the option in the drop down. Okay, but basically the drop down tag name is select, and there is no mandatory attribute for a drop down. Okay, you will always find the tag name select, but no mandatory attribute. In case of a link, the tag name is anchor tag A, which we had seen, and like I look at this link term data policy, right? You will always have the attribute href. This will point towards the URL which will open when you click on the link. So href is the mandatory attribute. In case of an image, for example, this is an image. This is the image over here. In case of an image, the tag name will always be img, and you will have a source attribute src which will point towards the URL from which the image is coming up. If I open this URL in a new tab, you will see the image. Okay, right. So you have img tag and the source attribute, which is the mandatory attribute in case of an image. In case of a regular text on the web page, okay, there is no mandatory or there is no tag or something, right? A text can be inside anything. It can be inside div, para tag, span tag. Okay, there is no particular classification. Fine, but every element can have few optional attributes with which identification of elements it becomes easy. These can be name, ID or class. If any element has got name, ID or class, then identification of that element becomes really easy. Name and ID are supposed to be unique for an element. Okay, 99% of the times the developer gives a unique name or an ID to an element. If you look at this first name field, then you see that it's got an ID. If an element has an ID, then with Selenium it really becomes easy to identify it. Okay, but class attribute, although it helps us to identify the elements, it is not unique. Class is not unique. There can be multiple elements on the page which can have the same class. Okay, for example, this is a div with the class placeholder. Fine, the first name field is div with the class placeholder. If you look at the surname field, over here also you will find a same division with same class. Okay, so class attribute, generally elements which have the same look and feel, generally they have the same class. We will elaborately discuss more on the class in the coming time, right? But yes, if any element has got name or ID, it is really easy to identify, right? For example, if I have to type something in the first name field, I have the ID of the first name field. Now what kind of code do I write over here after going to facebook.com if I have to type something in this particular field, first name field? First name field has got this particular ID. So what kind of code do I write to interact with the first name field? To understand this, you have to go to the official website selenium.dev and open up the documentation. Okay, this is the Java documentation. Fine, and over here, I had told you that WebDriver is the major interface. Okay, in the interface WebDriver there is a function known as find element, which will find an element on the web page. Okay, so basically this function is in the WebDriver interface, so this will be there inside all the implementing classes. So over here you can come and say that driver dot find element. Now you have to find some element. Okay, now there are two things in Selenium. The first thing is that this function finds an element by some criteria. The criteria is defined by the class by. there is an internal class by which defines the mechanisms used to locate the elements. There are different mechanisms with which you can identify elements. Those are defined by the by class, and those mechanisms can be class name, CSS selector, ID, link text, name, XPath. Okay, so we will look at that. Let us look at the ID. Right now we have the ID with us. So you mention the mechanism in the brackets over here and you write by dot. You will get all the criterias with which you can identify the element. I can select by the ID and you can give the ID. So this will go and find the element on the web page with this ID. Now in Selenium, whatever is there on a web page is known as a web element. Don't confuse this with web element of QTP or UFT if you have studied that. That is different. This button is a web element. This text box is a web element. Link is a web element. Right. Everything on the page is a web element. And find element function returns you reference of web element. Web element is an interface in Selenium which represents a generic HTML element. The web element interface has got functions with which you can interact with the elements on the web page. Like you have got click function which will click on the element, get text which will get the text of the element, right, is displayed which will check whether the element is displayed or not. Fine. So over here you will write driver.find element and this will return you a reference of web element interface. Okay, so you import this. What do you want to do with this web element? Had it been a link and or had it been a button, you would want to click on it, so you can use the function click which is available in the web element interface. Okay, or if it is a text field and you want to type inside it, right now it's a text field, you can use the function send keys and you can type something. So this will go and type something in the first name field. Okay, right. So out here, okay, this website opened differently. Hold on, let me run it again. So you see that it goes to Facebook and it's opened. Yeah, you see that it types hello. So with the web element interface, you can do lot of things. Okay, you can interact with the elements in different ways. We will look at that. Now similarly, suppose I have to type in the surname field as well. Okay, I can inspect this element. You look at this surname field and this has ID and this also has a name. So name attribute is also unique and it can be used to identify the element. So you can write the command driver.find element by the name and you can give the name as last name. So by ID, by name, there are different criterias. ID and name are the most easiest to use. Okay, so you can write over here, this is your web element surname and surname dot send keys something you can send. So this will go and type ABC in the last name field. Okay, meanwhile it runs. you understand one point, that to interact with one element, you are writing two lines of code. Okay, you are writing two lines of code to interact with one element. So we can also write one line of code. You see that it types in ABC. Okay, instead of doing this, right, I will comment all of this. You can write driver.find element by this ID, and it will go and find the element, and on that element you fire the function send keys hello. Okay, right, and what happens is that the extraction starts from the left to the right side. First this part is executed, and on that you fire the send keys function. Okay, similarly you find the last name field, and on that you fire the send keys function, and you run this. Right, you see that it types hello ABC. Right, so it's this one of the same thing. The extraction takes from the left side, the element is extracted, and then it is interacted with. But every time you will not get an element which has a ID or a name. Right, for example, you want to extract this text, create an account. If you investigate this text, create an account, it's under a span. This span tag has got no ID. Okay, so how do you manage this? To manage this, we have got other locator strategies, which are like you have CSS selector, or you have got XPath. Fine. So that's what we will be doing in the next part. I will be talking about XPaths. Okay, what XPaths are and how XPaths can help us. That's what we will look at it in the next part. XPaths in Selenium WebDriver.